All right, you guys, straight to jail for questioning at least Erika. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you'll be wasting your breath.
And we're going to make sure that we honor my husband so well, that this whole world knows what his vision was and will be. And
straight to jail, or at least straight to the interrogation room for questioning. That is the only logical conclusion left as the walls close in on one of the most mysterious figures in the modern political landscape. I don't care who gets upset after hearing this, and I really don't care who wants to waste their breath defending the indefensible. Nobody, and I mean nobody, could have ever imagined there was a direct documented connection between Erika Kirk and the shadowy world of Jeffrey Epstein. But according to high-level sources and recently unsealed documents, it has been staring us in the face the entire time. The word on the street right now is that Erika is actively preparing to flee the country to escape the mounting heat, which is precisely what investigators and truth seekers like Candace Owens predicted she would do the moment the script flipped. For months, the world has watched the fallout of Charlie Kirk's tragic 2025 assassination. But while the public mourned, a deeper investigation was happening behind the scenes. No one has been digging into the anomalies of that day more than Candace, who has been pulling the strings and connecting dots that lead directly to the doorstep of the intelligence community. People called her obsessed. They called her a conspiracy theorist. They even threw the word crazy into the mix to discredit her. But as we sit here in 2026, she hasn't been proven wrong yet, and the rest of the world is finally starting to see the pattern. Even world-renowned journalists and former associates have come forward to describe Erika as a performative social climber and a deeply disturbing opportunist who treats human relationships like ladders to be climbed. To understand where we are going, you have to understand where she started.
For years, and I really didn't want to get into this because this is not in my job description, and it's very dangerous to come out with this publicly. The smoking gun is Miss USA and Miss Teen USA, the pageants which Donald Trump owned for years. Now, how do I know? Because I was one of the judges in these pageants. I trained dozens and dozens of the winners and the runners-up in public speaking to promote their platform. This is all I'm going to say about this. If you're in the media and you're looking for information, start with Billy Bush. Billy Bush hosted the Miss USA, Miss Teen USA multiple times. Nancy O'Dell is another one, and then go down the rabbit hole from there. There are people that know a lot more than those two, but start there. They're celebrities, and start there, go down the rabbit hole, and I think what you're gonna find is gonna be very, very upsetting. Don't call me, I'm not gonna comment, I'm not going on TV and talking about this. This is very dangerous to sit on. If you decide to pursue this in the media, be very, very careful. These people are dangerous.
Erika wasn't just a supportive housewife sitting on the sidelines while Charlie built a multi-million-dollar empire. Allegedly, she was the one positioned in the spotlight for a reason. Before she was a Kirk, she was Erika Francevey, a Miss Arizona USA winner who paraded through the Miss USA competition, an organization owned and operated by Donald Trump. According to whistleblowers who worked as judges within that circuit, the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA pageants weren't just about beauty. They were the smoking gun for a massive recruitment network. These insiders warn that if you want to find the overlap between the Epstein web and the political elite, you have to start at those pageants. They describe it as a gateway into shadowy networks of power players where young, ambitious women were scouted, groomed, and placed into influential circles. Whispers online claim Erika didn't stop at competing. She allegedly transitioned into a role as a casting director for the pageant empire, rubbing elbows with the upper echelons of society while scouting talent. This background makes that viral, lingering hug at Charlie's memorial look less like a moment of grief and more like a high-level acknowledgement of a long-standing alliance with the inner sanctum of power. It's an alliance that reportedly boosted her from the pageant stage directly into a position where she could influence the next generation of American leaders. But as Epstein's world continues to crumble, and the names in the Black Book are finally being cross-referenced with real estate records and corporate filings, the perfect picture of a dedicated widow is cracking by the second. The rabbit hole goes even deeper when you look at the Romanian Angels charity. On paper, it was a noble cause, an orphanage campaign designed to help vulnerable children find homes. But leaked documents and insider whispers suggest a far more sinister reality. Rumors have circulated for years that this adoption agency was actually a front for trafficking pipelines moving children between Romania, Israel, and the UK. Critics have pointed out that the origins of the organization are murky at best, with some suggesting Erika's role was that of a recruiter, using her pageant past as a wholesome cover to lure victims into a twisted operation. When you factor in her family's connections to powerful international interests, specifically the Rothstein and Solomon families, who have been linked to organized crime and intelligence assets, the charity looks less like a mission and more like a global logistics hub. This brings us to the most chilling part of the story, the CIA honeypot angle. There are growing theories that Erika was planted in Charlie's life as a distraction, a handler meant to whisper in his ear and steer the MAGA movement from the backdrop. When the plan didn't go as orchestrated, or perhaps when Charlie became a liability, the stage was literally and figuratively cleared for her to take over. How else do you explain the resurfaced footage of Erika, a woman with no formal intelligence or military background, briefing national security professionals on EMP threats and power grid vulnerabilities? In these clips, she stands alongside a former CIA director, dropping technical breakdowns on cyber risks, physical sabotage, and high-altitude detonations that could black out the country for months. Fact-checkers have tried to dismiss this as an independent film, but the optics are undeniable. Why her? Why that level of access? Why was she the one chosen to speak on the very threats that could be used to destabilize the nation? The day of Charlie's assassination in 2025 provides the ultimate clue. During the investigation, it was discovered that the military uses a color of the day for secret operations in public areas to identify friendly assets. When researchers searched Department of Justice files for this term, they found 40 results, all of which were unredacted, except for one. The only file where the color of the day remains redacted is the day of Charlie Kirk's death. On that morning, witnesses reported a significant number of men wearing maroon shirts and white hats, organized almost like a battalion. If this was a coordinated intelligence operation, it suggests that the power vacuum created by Charlie's death was not an accident, but a transition. It was a transition that allowed Erika to seize the reins of TPUSA and steer it toward a grander scheme that the public is only just now beginning to grasp. Now, as the heat from the 2026 Epstein disclosures reaches a boiling point, the rumors of her fleeing have turned into a roar. Some say she is heading to Israel to hide behind her family's deep-rooted connections to Mossad. Others believe she is simply slipping away to a part of the world where subpoenas can't reach her. Whether she is dodging legal fallout or protecting assets, the dots continue to connect in the darkest possible directions. Erika has recently been seen pleading with her followers to stop digging into the reported lies against her. But as the evidence mounts, the question remains. Are they really lies when the truth is already out in the open for everyone to see? With investigators and independent journalists finally gaining access to the files the establishment tried to bury, the perfect wife narrative is dead. The jig is officially up. We are looking at a sprawling web of honeypot operations, foreign intelligence ties, and a sudden power grab that paints a picture not of a grieving spouse, but of an operative who was always positioned to step into the vacuum when the script flipped. The endgame is just getting started, and as the people finally open their eyes and read between the lines, the secrets that were buried in Romania, Arizona, and Florida are coming to light. The powerful people behind her won't be able to stay hidden for long, and as the investigation continues, the world will finally know exactly who was pulling the strings all along. This isn't just a story about one woman, it's a story about the invisible forces that shape our reality. Every section of this mystery introduces a new player and a new level of deception. From the beauty pageant recruitment grounds to the redacted military codes on a day of national tragedy, the evidence suggests a level of coordination that most people couldn't even fathom. But as we've seen, the truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep you try to bury it. Stay connected and keep your eyes on the upcoming disclosures, because the next chapter of this exposure is going to be even more shocking than the last. The dots are connecting, the heat is rising, and the truth is finally about to be revealed. But the question of whether or not these can be called lies is mind-boggling, not when the truth is already out in the open for everyone to see. With someone like Candace Owens on the hunt, Erika's agenda and the powerful people pulling her strings won't stay hidden for long. Like I said, the jig is up, and we'll be here with the updates the second the next file drops. But if you think Erika Kirk's connection to the elite is the only thing they're trying to hide, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. There is a reason the color of the day was redacted. And it leads back to an even deeper operation involving the very people who claim to be protecting us. If you're ready to see how deep the rabbit hole really goes, you need to watch this next breakdown right here, where we expose the hidden footage the CIA tried to erase from the internet. Hit that like and subscribe to stay connected to the truth. The dots are finally connecting. Don't lose the signal now. I'll see you in the next one.